Welcome to a brand new edition of UMFST International. My name is Larissa, and today we embark on a captivating journey through the formative experiences that shaped two remarkable figures within our university and the broader medical community. Succeeding in bridging Italy, Romania, and Germany on behalf of science are Dr. Ylenia Pastorello, PhD graduate, and Dr. Aurelio Russo, PhD candidate, two esteemed university assistants with a strong focus on the architecture of human body, more precisely anatomy. Hello, Dr. Aurelio, and hello, Dr. Ylenia. I'm so glad that you accepted my invitation and wanted to share your journey so far.
Thank you for
Thank you.
So, I'm convinced that your story it's a complex one. So I invite you to introduce us to the beginning of it. Could you share with us what sparked your interest in science and biology?
Well, my interest personally started in high school. I attended what we call in Italy scientific high school. Therefore, starting from my third, fourth year, I decided that I would be interested in pursuing medicine. What is very characteristic about Italian education is that it's not very focused on practical activity. It's mostly theoretical. And that's why I really wanted to do something different about that. So Romania came in the picture because we learned from internet and from eventually acquaintances that here there was the chance to have a more practical approach to the whole thing. So that's why personally I chose Romania for my medical studies.
All right. And in your case?
For me, I honestly never wanted to do something medicine related or scientific related.
Oh, really?
Yes, in fact, I studied informatics in high school. And then one day I suddenly was like, but why don't I give it a try?
Yes.
And got some information regarding Italy, and I saw that many students, many friends were unhappy with the system, not specifically with the teaching methods or whatever, but as my colleague said, regarding practical activities. This is why I started asking around to some friends where I could study medicine somewhere abroad, and eventually I got to know about UMFST and applied, and luckily finished, and here we are.
Yes. And how would you describe from an emotional perspective that stage when you were thinking, what if I study medicine in Romania?
Well, my parents were shocked.
All right.
That's for sure. They were not expecting me to leave, and moreover, they were not expecting me to study something like this, medicine. But, I mean, just the first period was a bit hard because you were away from home, and us from Italy, we are very attached to our families, especially in the south. But then it eventually got very easy over time, and now it is perfect in my opinion.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in your case?
For me, it was extremely exciting. Like my parents expected it for me to leave at some point, not necessarily for medicine, but for any other career. Choice of Romania was unexpected. Nevertheless, it was welcome. So, very excited.
So we have two different perspectives here.
Yeah.
Yes.
You may be acquainted with an often saying that claims that between Romanian people and Italian people are many similarities. Have you been pleasantly surprised regarding your cultural adaptation here?
I have to say that yes, the claims are totally true. Like we feel like we are at home now, for sure. At the beginning, let's say we were between not brothers and sisters, but cousins, so to speak. So yeah, traditions are very, very similar. Language, luckily for us, is very, very similar, despite the fact that we're not super fluent, but we understand most of it by now. So I think this made it way easier. The entire transition was way easier in this context, yes.
Yes. And Romania is known as Italy for its culinary offer and natural beauty. Do you have a favorite food or maybe a favorite place?
Yes.
That's a good.
Sarmale.
Really?
Absolutely. Best thing I've tried here.
And something similar to Italy, maybe?
There is a soup, which is with some, I don't know how to explain it.
I think tomato soup. Maybe that?
No, there is some sort of meat or fat, and very
Ciorba,
ciorba
burta,
dell'Enesco.
something.
might be,
Something like this, yes.
which is very similar to the soups that they were eating in the southern part of Italy a couple of years ago. Especially my grandmother and my relatives were making this kind of soup. So that's very similar. This is why I really like it.
All right, so you mentioned south of the Italy. Do you have, in this regard, a favorite place here? Something related maybe with water, with the ocean?
I mean, we both live very close to the sea
Okay.
in Italy. Personally, I've had enough of the sea. So Harghita would be
So the
perfect.
mountains.
Yes, we like
Yes.
very much the mountains, the snow.
Okay. So the opposites attract in this regard. Now I would like to direct the core of our discussion towards some particularities regarding both of you. And I would begin with teacher Aurelio. You have been an active volunteer of Red Cross since 2017. How come you have become a member in the first place, and what anchored your commitment until now?
Well, in the first place, there was sort of a campaign regarding the Red Cross, and some friends were like, why don't you just go? I have some friends there, just go and try. So I went there actually for meeting new people from my hometown and to have sort of a small community related to medical stuff. So I went there, I followed the course, I tried to get in, and I eventually, it was the place where I met my two best friends. So I pursued the Red Cross career, as we can see. We're doing a lot of courses like BLS, BLSD, emergency operator, and now it's a bit harder to keep it up with the Red Cross because I'm here in Romania.
Yes.
But I heard that now there is a Red Cross in Târgu-Mureș.
Yes.
So might be something.
An extension of it, yes.
Yes. So it's something very nice that I heard, and nothing else.
All right. So you haven't been involved in this kind of program?
Oh yes, I did my preparatory courses to enter university, which also involved BLSD. I was not as involved as Aurelio, to be fair. But yes, I also took part to these courses.
Okay. I'm sure that being part of this kind of program certainly highlights the medicine's practical side. So I would like to ask you, have you both been passionate about anatomy, or this subject conquered your interest during your studies?
Definitely, it started everything here. During first year, we approached the subject. Everything was new indeed. So with all the challenges that a new subject may require. Nevertheless, what was very fascinating for me was the practical approach and the reason why we chose this university. We had contact with cadavers, real bones, real organ from the first day. For me, it was extremely fascinating. As weird as it sounds, I know. Therefore, I started volunteering from my second semester, right after neuroanatomy. And then I continued for the entire journey of medical school, so to speak, as a demonstrating student. So my interest in anatomy definitely started here, yes.
Okay, and in your case?
It's sort of the same story. First time in anatomy was a bit shocking because we started with bones, and I remember they were spreading the bones towards us, and in order to study them, then I realized that they were real. It was real material.
Yes.
with real cadavers, with real organs, and this is something that, for instance, in Italy you will never see. I don't think it's even legal in Italy to do something like that. And then, I will be honest, the subject was very hard, extremely hard for me, especially in a new language, which was English. So I had some difficulties, but it began to be more and more interesting. So this is why I decided to pursue and to go on with anatomy.
And this is unexpected. So in Italy, they do not use this kind of materials?
No, mainly books.
Okay.
Books, 3D platform softwares.
Yes, also
and
software.
There are a couple of universities that might have access to real cadavers, but not to the entire cadaver. So you would have just superior limb or inferior limbs and so on, and there are really, really few in university.
Mm-hmm. So again, it's a more theoretical approach.
Definitely.
Okay, and here maybe you did have a mentor who instilled in you this love for this pivotal subject and the calling to become a teacher.
Yes, definitely. Our mentor was Dr. Dennis Lorand.
Okay.
That we thank very, very much for everyday support in anatomy and in our also PhD studies, definitely. And it was interesting eventually to become colleagues with your mentors. And it's definitely challenging in a way to see them now as colleagues and not as your teachers anymore, but it's also very interesting to work together.
And how come did you decide to expand your job duties in order to become a teacher?
I like teaching, honestly.
Okay.
It is something that we can say sort of pays off whenever you see some of the students that are attracted by a subject and they have the possibility to learn and to understand everything thanks to you. That is something, in my opinion.
Yes, it's such a huge reward.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And now, teacher Ylenia, we would like to hear more about your PhD, the topic, the process of choosing it, and how this additional level of studies can complete a CV of a medical graduate.
Oh, definitely. So I entered, to be honest, PhD school because I wanted to teach anatomy. So the two are very, very related in our university, but in general in Europe, in order to be a teacher, you need to pursue also research. Therefore, I applied for PhD school with my two other mentors, Professors Levin and Professor Bănescu. And the topic was monomeric seriative protein and its implication in vascular and neurodegenerative pathologies. I have to say that the entire PhD journey was definitely full of challenges, especially for somebody like me that was never involved much in research or, let's say, in lab work. Therefore, there is a whole new set of skills that you're supposed to develop. And I could do that thanks to their support, which was really amazing. And I feel very, very lucky to have such team and to work with them. Definitely, though, I could see how PhD and whatever we learn during classes and so on in the lab can also relate to the teaching activities, because now my help for the student is not only related to anatomy, I can extend it also to research. So they can come to me, we can write articles together, abstracts, and this will help them furthermore in applying to PhD school and joining the anatomy team. So everything is very, very related. And I think it's fundamental for anybody that wants to pursue such a career, of course, to join research as soon as possible, not to wait. Unfortunately, like we did, like final years of med school and so on, they should start from second, third year. Definitely, we would be more than happy to help.
All right, so you have a well-skilled coordinator.
Oh, definitely. All our coordinators are amazing.
Okay, and teacher Aurelio, you are currently ongoing with your PhD,
Yes.
discovering this complex mechanism behind Alzheimer's disease. How did you decide to choose this topic?
It is a very hard topic.
Yes.
It's very complex. It has a lot of challenges. This is why I chose it.
Okay.
If you look at the underlying mechanisms of the disease and then you go deep into them, you will see that everything has a connection with something else. So it's not like, okay, you have this disease, here is the cure, you're good, amazing. No, because when you block a mechanism, there are 50 more that are acting sort of the same way, or that are interacting with something else. So it's extremely challenging. This is why I'm mainly focusing on the biomarkers of Alzheimer's disease and on inflammation. I won't go deeper into that, also because I'm just in the first year now, about to finish the first year. And then right after summer, I will start with the real practical PhD stuff.
Okay, wonderful. And because both of you were involved in research activities, I would like you to insist here on the significance of the research, because many medical students they are still afraid to go to do the research, and maybe they do not fully grasp the importance of it. It's still a cryptic field, if I can say that. How can we demolish this myth?
Well, I'm just going to say that even for us, we've been involved for quite a bit right now, is we feel exactly the same.
Okay.
Meaning that every day you learn something new. You're never going to know everything, like everything in general. Therefore, you might as well just start. And the most important thing, of course, is to find somebody that is available to guide you without judging you. Mm-hmm. This was the best part in my PhD experience. For example, I was never scared of asking any question. Never. Nobody ever made me feel stupid or that I didn't know enough. They knew that, in fact, I didn't know enough, but everybody was so available to teach. Meaning the change should start from us, from the mentors, from the teachers at this point. If we can make the students feel comfortable to come to us and say, hey, look, I don't know much, but I want to learn, then this would change everything. Of course, students in general will be scared, which is understandable. They are young and unexperienced, but I think our behavior should change first, and then students' behavior will change accordingly.
Yes, so it's about human interaction, first of all.
Definitely.
And after comes science.
Yes.
Okay, I would like to continue with Erasmus projects. They are well advertised in our university, and students are encouraged to participate. You are no exception, and you succeed in doing your summer program through this kind of opportunity. How would you describe the experience?
So, for me, I tried to do the Erasmus Plus in Italy, so in my home country.
Yes.
I was really curious to see how it was to work in Italy, to stay in a workplace and to see the interactions between people, see how they were working with patients. And I was not surprised by anything. It was quite flat.
Okay.
So this is why during my first year I did it in Romania. So I did the summer practice. At the end of each year we have this summer practice that we can do anywhere. So the first one I did it in Romania, and then I started doing it in Italy just to see the differences in between the workplaces. Of course, I noticed that here in Romania it's something more frenetic, let's say. It's a non-stop, especially at Smurt, which is unbelievably crazy in my opinion. But also in Italy, depending on where you go, you will find different hospitals, different teaching methods, and different behaviors, let's say. She has a different, I think, experience. She went somewhere else.
Yes, I was not with the Erasmus program. It was also with a program coordinated by Liga Studenților. I went to Portugal in Lisbon, but I have to say that I enjoyed it very much. Like, it was amazing. I had the chance to participate in very many surgeries. It was in the maxillofacial surgery department. I chose specifically that one because, as far as understood, in Romania, if you want to become a maxillofacial surgeon, you also need to go through the dentistry program.
Yes.
Which I didn't want to do. Therefore, I gave it a last chance, to the subject and to the experience, and it was amazing. So, my opinion, absolutely, students should totally apply for such programs. Personally, I did not attend any Erasmus program throughout the year because, indeed, I was busy with anatomy, demonstrating, and so on, and I did not want to leave the students, but during summer, absolutely, they should attend.
Okay. And, many students, many international students say that there is enough multiculturality once they move for studies in another country. But you two chose a second change of environment, if I can say that. And you are now in Hamburg. You teach in Hamburg. How did you embrace this opportunity? And how is your experience at the English Medical University, UMCH for short?
Yes. Well, I have to say that the change was not that extreme because most of our colleagues during faculty here were German students. Therefore, we kind of learned their ways, we kind of learned their traditions and so on during the first 6 years of our studies, or at least this was for me. Experience at UMCH, I have to say that is challenging, for sure. Multicultural is really the word. We have students from all over the world, really all over the world, and they have very different experiences and backgrounds. Most of them are from international schools, therefore we also kind of had to learn their own way of learning, in fact, and we could approach teaching in a bit different way, and in fact even more practical than what we were used to. But it's definitely interesting and challenging.
And in your case?
In my case, I tried to see how Hamburg was. I'm not a fan of changes.
Okay.
Meaning that it was already challenging for me to go up to Hamburg and teach the subject. It is a different approach compared to Romania because there we don't have cadavers, we don't have real organs, real material, let's say. So it was challenging to learn how to use 3D tables and to actually see how it was working there. I eventually managed, so in the end it was fine with her help. Otherwise I would have been completely lost with this new system, let's say, that they use.
Okay, so it's more like a digital approach, maybe.
Yes, it's in fact a digital campus. Mm-hmm. And I totally understand what he's saying. It was exactly the same for me in the first year that I was in Hamburg. Now I'm at the end of my third year, basically. We are used to cadavers. We are used to real organs, real bones, and so on. And approaching everything in 3D is very challenging for us because it doesn't feel real.
Yes.
In fact, it's not. Nevertheless, it also has its pros. Because, of course, for how good we can dissect a cadaver, you will never be able to see all the structures, while with this approach, you're able to actually have an overview. Nevertheless, I think it's extremely, extremely important for the students to experience reality of cadaver and other specimens, and that's why students, in fact, that attend Hamburg University are also directed during the summer to attend like courses with real specimen. In first year in Rostock, and second year they come to our campus here. So in fact we had UMCH students joining us in the campus, and I have to say they really liked it. So we are very, very happy about it.
Oh, interesting. So you advocate for both ways, the real one and the digital one.
That would be ideal.
That would be
Yes,
ideal.
that
Okay.
would be exactly ideal to directly teach, in my opinion, on 3D specimen. We use the anatomage table in Hamburg and then proceed with the real cadaver.
Okay.
I do believe that there is no way to substitute the experience on the cadaver. That it's impossible with all the technology we want to provide. This is just my personal opinion.
Sure, but very interesting. And because you are almost all the time around Gen Z students, I want to ask you, which is the most prominent difference between this current generation and your own experience?
Well, for me, I grew up without a phone, without computers, without anything. I'm not that old.
Yeah.
I was born in 1998, but my parents were quite not. I don't want to say strict because they were not strict, but they were teaching me that there is a world outside. So they were just letting me. They were like, "Go and do whatever you want." So I basically grew up by playing with friends in the streets. And then slowly, we started to have the first phone, to have the first console, the first computer, up until today, where there is too much technology, in my opinion. It's too much to date.
Okay.
I feel like it's sometimes overwhelming. Like you have people that have like 5, 6, 7 laptops, a laptop for this, a laptop for that, and then a phone and iPad or whatsoever, which is fine. I'm not saying that it's not fine, but there is sort of a addiction now to phones and tablets. This is what I don't like.
For me, it was very challenging to accept the fact that each student would be there with, as Aurelio said, with their own iPad, taking notes. I'm fine with it, no problem. We were used to go to the anatomy class with sketches made by hand, colored and so on by us. So we were just allowed paper and pen. Because of course questions were asked during the PA, therefore we didn't want to cheat and we were not allowed, in fact, to have technologies or anything on us. Right now we have to accept that there is evolution, is no problem. Then again, what I could see is that attention span kind of diminished.
Yes.
Most likely due to this. Therefore, a class that could have been 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, and I was sure at the beginning that the students would have followed the class, you know. Right now I see that after 40, 45 minutes is really not that good anymore. So we also have to evolve, I believe. We have to find more interactive way for them to participate. This is though a difference between us, most likely, and new students. New generation, they really want to get to the practical aspect right away. For us, we were okay with getting an explanation. First, we were a bit more, let's say, shy to approach the practical aspect, most likely due to the Italian background, of course. So as technologies evolve, students will evolve, and we should adapt to.
Yes, they're impatient even.
Oh yes, they are. They really are.
And which do you think are their current needs? And how can you fulfill them being a teacher now?
Well, as I said before, I think every student needs to feel validated in the sense that it is okay to not come to class fully prepared, to not know the entire class, but it's the teacher's approach that will make a difference. If we shame them, if we yell at them and so on because they're not fully prepared, they will never enjoy the class.
Certainly.
As most likely we have experience in our studies, therefore we are trying to change a bit this belief and this behavior. Hopefully we manage. I cannot guarantee that we manage all the time because we deal with, then again, students that come from different, very, very different backgrounds, and whatever looks normal to me might not look normal to them. But if we are open to discussion, then I believe we're going to reach a point where everybody is kind of satisfied with their own job.
Yes, every improvement is a step forward.
We try.
And what do you enjoy the most about this multidisciplinary team in which you are working? Which is the greatest advantage working abroad, for example?
Working abroad is giving you a lot of experience, first of all. We will not talk about CV or whatever, keep it on the side. It is an experience. It is nice to teach in a language which is not your mother language. It is challenging sometimes because, as she said, we have students from anywhere in the world, so there can be sometimes some barriers, maybe language barriers, maybe, okay, everyone can read a book, that's fine. But as she said, the teacher's approach, it is the most important thing. And also regarding the team, the anatomy team, I think the greatest advantage is the friendship that we build all together.
Definitely. I think it's one of the things with most multiculturalism. Of course, we have Romanians, Hungarians, Italians, and so on. And we have to thank Professor Clara Brânzăniuc for allowing us to do such job in such a cool, so to speak, environment.
Mm-hmm. So it's all about relationships.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
If you would give a message to your younger self, what would you say regarding studying here in Romania?
I will be, don't worry.
Okay.
It will be fine.
Absolutely the same. Like, go for it. It's gonna be, they were, I can say, the best 6 years of my life. So, for sure. And it's such a bless, let's say, we're very lucky to do the job that we love. So it really doesn't feel like you're working. Therefore, I would be, go for it.
Yes.
So it doesn't really feel like you're working.
It doesn't feel like that.
This is an important line.
Yes.
All right, so with that, we are gradually approaching the end of today's edition, and I want to thank you, teacher Ylenia and teacher Aurelio, for sharing such insightful reflections on what it takes to be such a multitasker in the medical field.
Thank you.
Thank you for it.
Therefore, we discovered how career paths may intertwine, how dedication and visionary goals are the most valuable assets of a student. Also, stay with us for the upcoming episode, where we continue to uncover inspiring narratives that contribute to evolving and rich experiences here at George Emil Valade UMFST of Târgu Mureș. Thank you all for your attention and have a lovely afternoon.